Welcome to Innovation Pulse, your quick, no-nonsense update on the latest in cleantech and EVs. First, we will cover the latest news. Aurora Innovation is set to deploy driverless trucks in Texas, Waymo expands its Robotaxi rides, and Tesla tests its autonomous ride-hailing service. After this, we'll dive deep into Slate Auto's ambitious plans for an affordable and customizable electric vehicle, promising a personalized driving experience and domestic production. Driverless trucks may soon travel a 200-mile stretch of Interstate 45 between Dallas and Houston. Aurora Innovation, founded in 2017, has developed trucks equipped with sensors and AI software called the Aurora Driver. These trucks aim to operate 24/7 without human intervention. Aurora has conducted closed and virtual tests and plans to launch the trucks by month's end. The business model involves AI vendors leasing software to truck manufacturers who sell to logistics firms. Although concerns about safety exist, Aurora claims their technology increases efficiency, mobility, and safety. A recent Aurora report outlines safe navigation strategies for automated big rigs. Despite safety features like automatic braking, the impact of driverless trucks on highways remains uncertain. Economic incentives, such as reduced labor costs, drive this technology. Aurora is also suing a federal agency over regulations requiring roadside warning devices, which their driverless trucks can't deploy. Alphabet's Waymo is now providing over 250,000 paid Robotaxi rides weekly in the United States, up from 200,000 in February. CEO Sundar Pichai announced Waymo's growing partnerships with Uber, automakers, and maintenance businesses to expand its reach, acknowledging the need for collaboration. While Waymo's long-term business model remains undefined, options for personal ownership of self-driving vehicles are being explored. Currently operating in regions like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Phoenix, and Austin, Waymo plans to launch in Atlanta this summer with Uber. Waymo has surpassed Tesla and other now-defunct startups in bringing self-driving technology to the market. Tesla aims to offer driverless services by June, but faces criticism for lacking fully autonomous safety. Competitors include Zoox, Mobileye, and international firms like WeRide and Baidu's Apollo Go. Let's now switch to the implications of Tesla's Robotaxi plans. Tesla is testing its autonomous ride-hailing service with employees in Austin and the Bay Area, gearing up for a Robotaxi launch. The company announced the FSD supervised service for early employee use, referring to its full self-driving system. Though not fully autonomous, it aids in some driving tasks, but requires driver supervision. Tesla's new app aims to allow non-Tesla owners to hail rides. This employee-only trial is a typical step before public release, similar to Waymo's approach. Tesla plans a June launch in Austin, initially rolling out 10 to 20 vehicles. While last year's Cybercab concept lacked traditional controls, operations will begin with existing models. A video shows a Model 3 with passenger features and a safety driver disclaimer. Musk previously mentioned plans for an unsupervised FSD launch, but current plans remain unclear. Slate Auto, a new American electric vehicle startup, is making waves with its affordable, customizable, and analog approach, starkly contrasting with Tesla. The unpainted vehicle can switch from a 2-seater pickup to a 5-seater SUV. Announced in Long Beach, California, Slate plans to offer its truck for under $20,000 with a federal tax credit by late 2026. Backed by Amazon's Jeff Bezos, Slate aims to make EVs accessible, focusing on personalization with over 100 accessories. Buyers can customize features like infotainment screens and even wrap the truck themselves to save costs. Despite safety features like emergency braking and airbags, the base model is minimalistic. Slate's strategy is to offer a low-cost EV funded by customization options, supported by investments from figures like Mark Walter. They employ 400 staff, emphasizing domestic production in a volatile market. And now, pivot our discussion towards the main Cleantech topic.
All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive here on Innovation Pulse. I'm Donna, and today we're going somewhere unexpected, the cab of a big rig truck. But here's the twist. There might not be anyone at the wheel.
That's right, Donna. I'm Yakov, and today we're exploring one of the most fascinating technological transformations happening right under our noses: self-driving trucks. This isn't just about cool tech, it's about reshaping one of the world's oldest and most essential industries.
Lay it on me, Yakov. When I hear self-driving trucks, I picture something from a sci-fi movie. How far along are we, really?
Well, prepare to be amazed because this technology has been quietly developing for decades. Would you believe it started back in the 1990s with the US Army? They were testing convoy systems where only the lead truck had a human driver and the rest followed using satellite navigation.
Wait, the military was pioneering this? I guess that makes sense when you think about those dangerous supply routes.
Exactly, and then the mining industry picked it up in the 2000s. By 2007, there were fully autonomous mining trucks operating in Chile. Massive vehicles that could haul materials without any human inside. But here's where it gets really interesting. 2015 was a watershed year.
What happened in 2015?
That's when Daimler's Freightliner Inspiration became the world's first licensed autonomous semi-truck on public roads in Nevada. Picture this, a huge semi with a special license plate driving itself down the highway.
No way. And people were okay with this?
Well, it was just the beginning. The real jaw-dropper came in 2016 when a company called Otto did something pretty incredible. They completed the first commercial autonomous truck delivery. Get this. They hauled over 50,000 cans of Budweiser 120 miles across Colorado with no one in the driver's seat during highway travel.
Hold up. Autonomous trucks delivering beer? Now that's innovation I can get behind. But seriously, why are companies pushing so hard for this technology?
Great question. There are several compelling reasons. First off, we're facing a massive driver shortage. In the US alone, we were short 80,000 drivers in 2021, and that could balloon to $160,000 by 2030. Plus, driver wages make up about 40% of trucking costs.
So it's about filling jobs that humans can't or won't do.
That's part of it, but it's also about safety. Here's a sobering statistic. 94% of motor vehicle crashes are caused by human error. In 2020, almost 5,000 people died in crashes involving large trucks in the US alone. Autonomous systems never get tired, never get distracted, and always follow traffic laws.
Those numbers are pretty compelling. But how does this actually work in practice? Are we talking about trucks just cruising down the highway by themselves?
Well, that's where we get into the different implementation strategies. Right now, most companies are focusing on what they call hub-to-hub operations. A human driver takes the truck from a warehouse to the highway. Then the autonomous system takes over for the long haul, and another human handles the final delivery.
So it's like tag team trucking?
Exactly. And here's something mind-blowing. Because these autonomous systems can drive nearly 24/7 without rest breaks, one autonomous truck could potentially do the work of 3 regular trucks.
That's incredible efficiency. But Yakov, I've got to ask, where are we actually seeing this in real life right now?
As of 2025, we're seeing pilot programs across the US, China, and Europe. In the US, companies like Waymo and Aurora are hauling real freight on highways in Texas and Arizona. Though they still have safety drivers on board, China is actually leading in deployment. A company called Inceptio has delivered over 400 autonomous trucks to a major delivery company, which is currently the world's largest deployment.
Wow, I had no idea China was that far ahead. What about Europe?
Europe's taking a more cautious approach. focusing on something called platooning, where trucks drive in tight formation to save fuel. They had this amazing demonstration in 2016 where trucks from different manufacturers drove across several countries in platoons and all converged in Rotterdam.
Platooning? Like ducks in a row?
Great analogy. The trucks communicate with each other, and the trailing trucks can save 5 to 10% in fuel by reducing air resistance. But here's the truly groundbreaking development. In December 2024, Kodiak Robotics started the first commercial driverless trucking service in Texas.
Wait, completely driverless? No safety driver at all?
That's right. Though it's limited, they're operating on private roads in the oil fields, hauling frac sand over 21 miles. But it's a huge milestone. The first paid commercial service with 0 humans in the cab.
Okay. But if the technology is this advanced, why aren't we seeing driverless trucks everywhere? What's holding us back?
Now we're getting to the barriers. First, there's the weather challenge. These trucks rely on sensors like LIDAR and cameras, which can be thrown off by heavy rain, snow, or fog. Imagine trying to navigate a sudden snowstorm without human intuition.
Right, that makes sense. What else?
Regulation is a huge hurdle. In the US, we've got this patchwork of state laws. Some states allow testing, others don't. There's no federal framework yet. And then there are the liability questions. If a driverless truck causes an accident, who's responsible? The manufacturer, the operator, the software company?
That sounds like a legal nightmare.
It really is. And then there's public acceptance. Remember, these are 80,000-pound vehicles sharing the road with families. People need to trust that they're safe. Plus, there's the labor concern. With 3.6 million truck drivers in the US, automation could displace a lot of jobs.
That's a tough transition to manage. So what's the industry's game plan?
They're taking an incremental approach. We're seeing different strategies emerge. There's the highway-only model I mentioned, platooning systems, and something really interesting called teleoperation.
Teleoperation? Like remote control trucks?
Sort of. The trucks drive themselves most of the time, but remote operators can monitor multiple trucks and intervene if needed. Imagine an air traffic controller for trucks. If a vehicle encounters something it can't handle, a human can guide it through remotely.
That's fascinating. It's like having a safety net without needing someone physically in the cab.
Exactly. And you know what's really exciting? The environmental benefits. Autonomous trucks can optimize their driving for fuel efficiency, and platooning saves even more fuel. Plus, they could help accelerate the transition to electric trucks by optimizing battery usage.
So where do you think we're headed with all this?
I think we'll see a phased rollout. First, more trucks with advanced driver assistance, then supervised autonomous operation on highways, followed by fully driverless hub-to-hub routes, and eventually, end-to-end autonomous operation. But that last step, trucks that can go anywhere, anytime, in any weather, that's probably still a decade away.
It sounds like we're at this fascinating inflection point where the technology is ready for limited deployment, but society and regulations are still catching up.
That's a perfect summary. And here's what I find most interesting. This isn't just about replacing drivers. It's about reimagining the entire logistics industry. When you remove human limitations, you can optimize freight networks in ways we've never imagined.
So for our listeners out there, whether you're in tech, logistics, or just curious about the future, this is something to watch. The trucks rolling down our highways might soon be driving themselves, and that's going to change more than just the trucking industry.
Absolutely. This technology could reshape how we move goods, impact employment, change infrastructure needs, and even affect how we design our cities and supply chains. It's one of those innovations that touches almost every aspect of our economy.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into self-driving trucks. Thanks for joining us on Innovation Pulse. Remember, the future isn't just coming. It's already rolling down our highways, and it might not have anyone behind the wheel.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, keep innovating. And that's a wrap for today's podcast. From the strides in driverless truck deployment and robotaxi expansions to the innovations in electric vehicles and the challenges still facing autonomous transport, we've explored the dynamic landscape of the self-driving revolution. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends and colleagues so they can also stay updated on the latest news and gain powerful insights. Stay tuned for more updates.